What's going on, people? My name is Fred Posimo. For those of you that don't know me, I teach people how to make money and how to have fun. And my belief is that if we can create alignment between both of those things, we have achieved success. But where does that really start? My belief is that that starts with your mindset. Mindset really is your foundation. Think of a pyramid. A pyramid, it comes up and it comes to a point. That's like your focal point in life. But think of the bottom of a pyramid. The bottom of a pyramid is always much bigger than the top of a pyramid. And that's because the foundation needs to be very strong. And the foundation for us as humans is our mindset. And what I've discovered is I've found that there's 5 mindsets that we progress through as humans, and sometimes we get stuck on a mindset. And that's what's keeping us from being able to progress and being able to move forward. So let's go through each of the 5 mindsets, because clarity is power. And the more clear that you guys are on each of these mindsets that you have, the more power you have to actually change them and actually progress through them. So mindset number 1 is you don't know what you don't know. And we all enter into the world with this mindset. Think about it. As a kid, everything's new to us. We're curious. We're just curious beings. The grass is new, the air, the sky, everything is brand new to us at that point. And I want you guys to think about your brain as almost like an empty puzzle box. And as we grow, mainly through about the first decade of our life, what we're doing is we're collecting puzzle pieces. And we're putting those puzzle pieces into the box. And as a child, we're really collecting large handfuls of puzzle pieces at one time and just throwing them into this box. And then as we get a little bit older, maybe into our teenage years, we start to link some of those pieces together. We start to create philosophies and belief systems in our life. The issue becomes in one of 2 ways from this mindset. Way number 1 is that people become overwhelmed with the amount of puzzle pieces that they have in their box. And they reach a point where they're so overwhelmed that they don't want to move any forward. They're stuck. They intentionally stuck themselves, even if they do it on a subconscious level and they don't really notice that it's happening. What they've done is they've closed their mind off to the world, and they've not allowed their mind to be open. Think of your mind like a parachute. It only works if it's opened. But we have so much clutter inside of our minds, it's like having 10,000 emails. And we know a large portion of these emails are important, so we can't just delete them all. But we're also reluctant to go through and organize them all in our life. So we're stuck in this closed mind space. The second way that people get stuck is that they enter into the workforce and they start doing something. They have a skill that they acquire and they start doing, and then they develop the belief that they've mastered that skill. And we all know the person who's had a job for 30 years, but really we can tell that they've really only done 1 year 30 times. And again, they've made that subconscious or maybe conscious decision to close their mind off and to say, no more, I don't need any more. I have everything that I can possibly have at this point. And that's a very naive way of looking at life. So what we need to do is we need to progress into mindset number 2. And mindset number 2 is I know that I need to know. And this is a really cool place to be, because at this point we have given our mind permission to open up. It's like the old Zen proverb, a student and a master. The student goes to the master and says, "Master, I want you to teach me the art of Zen." The student and the master, they sit down at a table together, the 2 of them, and they're drinking tea. And the master grabs the teapot and there's a cup in front of both the student and the master. And the master goes to fill the student's cup first. And he starts pouring the tea into the cup. And he keeps pouring it and it fills all the way to the brim. And then he continues to go and the cup overflows. And the student says, "Master, what are you doing? The cup is full." And the master, being much more wise than the student, replies to him, "So is your mind full, just like this cup." And when your mind's full, there's no room for anything else to come in. And so when we progress from mindset number 1, which is I don't know what I don't know, into mindset number 2, which is I know that I need to know, this is us giving our mind permission to open up. And the really interesting thing about this is that this is a point where you don't actually know what you want to study, what you want to pursue, what you want to learn, but you know you want to learn something. And I had this moment in my life after I read my very first self-help book. The first self-help book that I ever read was actually on financial literacy, and it was by Dave Ramsey. It was a book called The Total Money Makeover. Prior to that experience, I had never read a book in my life, and I was 18 years old at the time, and I was intrigued by the topic because it wasn't a fiction book like I was used to growing up. It was something new, it was something different. And so I finally talked myself into reading this book, and after I closed the final cover and put the book down, my mind was racing. It was in this place where I remember specifically saying to myself this specific phrase in my head. I said, I know there's something else out there, but I don't know what it is, but I want to go learn that. And that's what I did. The next year I went on a reading escapade and I read a book a month for 12 months and I actually exceeded that goal by the end of the year and ended up reading 16 books on self-help, personal development, self-improvement, business, entrepreneurship, financial literacy, you name it, which has helped to forge my foundation or my mindset into what it is today. And so I had that moment when I read my first book, and I'm hoping that this video helps give you that moment. Maybe you recognize that you're stuck in that first mindset and you need to move into mindset number 2. And then after you move into mindset number 2, we can then progress into mindset number 3. Mindset number 3 is now you've gone from the point where you know that you need to know into I know what I need to know. This is where you uncover your passion. You become self-aware. What I did was I spent many years in introspective thought. Just time for myself, time to think and absorb and ask myself questions, because all your thoughts really are a series of asked and answered questions. That's what we need to understand. The more questions that we ask of ourselves, the more we can identify about ourselves. And as I went through this process, I realized that there were certain things that I liked. I had certain talents in this world and certain passions. And I figured out ways to blend those things and to bring those things together. And one of the other things that I teach is what I call the 5 pillars of life. And the 5 pillars of life will help you guys recognize what your passions are and what your talents are and really streamline that process so that you can get the answer a lot quicker. Now, it's not an exact science, but it does help eliminate some of the barriers that you might have in yourself. Now we know what we need to learn. We know that we need to know, that's mindset number 2, and now we know what we need to know. And when we can build that third mindset, now that we know what we need to know, we start studying, we start training, we start putting in the time, putting in the hours. This is the only way that you accomplish anything in life. I'm an author of 2 books, and the way that I did that was just by putting the time in. Grant Cardone was once interviewed. The interviewer asked him, Grant, I heard you wrote one of your books in 6 hours. And Grant said, that's correct. The interviewer said, 6 hours? How could you possibly write a book in 6 hours? And Grant Cardone said, I just wrote. I just sat down and started writing it. You see, guys, the answer to your problem is not the hard part. Taking action is. If you want to lose weight, diet and exercise. If you want to write a book, start writing. We know what the answer is, but our mind blocks us from taking that action. So when we align these 5 mindsets and when we have clarity on these 5 mindsets and we know what we're passionate about and we know what we're skilled in, we can create an alignment between both of those things. Everything changes at that point. And it just makes it that much easier to get from where you are to where you want to go. But we still need to get into mindset number 4. Mindset number 4 is I share what I know. It's really important that we get to this level. Einstein once said, if you can teach something, you have effectively mastered that thing. Now, I'm butchering that quote completely. What Einstein meant was, to reach a level of mastery, we need to be able to explain whatever topic that is to somebody else in a way that they can comprehend it. And if we can do that, that means that we have now reached a level of mastery in that area. Think about it. I started out as a martial artist, and I was a martial artist from the time I was 7 years old. For about the past 20 years, I've been involved in the martial arts in some way. And in martial arts, it's very obvious where you're at, where your level of expertise is at, because you have a belt around your waist. And that shows you, that gives you that visual representation of where you are. But when there's no belt system anymore, it's hard for us to rank our level of expertise. And that's why a lot of people get stuck in mindset number 1. Like we mentioned, they have the belief system that they've acquired a level of mastery in this area. And it may not be true. They may just be thinking that, but really they've only done 1 year 30 times, like we mentioned during the first mindset. So to combat that, what I would recommend is go out and teach this thing that you believe you've mastered. And when you teach it, you're gonna learn so much more about that topic. I've done this with almost every topic that I've gotten into. One of them being real estate investing. I go out there all the time and I see people all the time who have a couple of properties. Maybe they bought 1 property, 3 properties, 5 properties. They're a landlord. They own these rental properties and they think that they have this real estate game mastered. But because of my expertise and my knowledge in that area, the amount of education that I've had in it, the amount of discussions and conversations that I've had with people who are actually experts in this area, I can look at these people's deals and deconstruct them in a few minutes and recognize holes or sticking points in that person's potential deal simply because I have a higher level of education than they have in that area. But had I not gotten up and started teaching real estate investing, just as an example, I wouldn't have had that opportunity to see where my expertise actually lied at. One of the reasons that we want to share what we know, mindset number 4, is because we want to see what level we're actually at with that mindset. That's only mindset number 4. There's one more mindset that we need to cover, and that's mindset number 5. Mindset number 5 is I am what I know. And what I mean by this is at this point, we have developed a level of expertise in a particular area, or maybe in multiple areas at this point. Maybe you picked up a couple of things along the way. Perfectly fine. But we've reached such a high level of expertise that now, whatever that area is, it just exudes out of us. We talk about it by accident. It just comes up in conversation. For instance, my dad is a professional musician. He's played guitar his whole life since he was a child. He's just well versed in music and understands music. So now, today, every time he listens to a song, he's counting in his head and he's keeping the beat. He is what he knows. At this point, if I watch a movie, an action movie, and there's a fist fight scene, I can analyze it. I can see what's actually happening. And I can probably tell you what level those people are actually at in that scene because I've trained martial arts for so long. The same thing happens with any skill that you acquire in this life, whether it's construction, whether it's working in retail, whether it's investing, whether it's money, it doesn't matter. You're gonna reach this level where you are what you know, and people just associate that thing with you because your whole core philosophy, your entire belief system is that, and it believes that, and you exude whatever it is that you've trained for all these years out into the world. So that's it, guys. Those are your 5 mindsets. I hope that helped you out. Here's the deal. If you guys want to reach out to me, write this down. 215-596-1515. 215-596-1515. That's my direct business line. That's going to go directly to my cell phone, and I'm going to answer it. It's not my team, it's me, guys. If you want to chat with me, if you want to ask me questions, if you just want to say, hey, I really enjoyed this video, thanks so much for putting it out, you're more than welcome to. But text me. Come on, it's 2020. Don't call me. Just text me. Shoot me a text to that number. Let me know who you are. Let me know that you were thankful for this video, that you liked it, or that you have a question, and you can contact me there anytime. If you want to schedule a call with me, head over to talkwithfred.com and you can actually book an appointment with me right on my calendar. You and I will jump on a call together and we can talk about whatever it is you have going on. But shoot me a text, go to talkwithfred.com if you want to schedule an appointment with me, and we'll be good to go. I hope that helped you guys today, and I hope that you got something out of it and that you can grow your mindset and build that foundation for the rest of your life. I'll talk to you guys again very soon.